Alright, and it's no secret that Pokemon Legends ZA shall be coming out almost with immediate effect by the time this video goes up. And people are very, very excited for the new toys that we shall be receiving and just a new story, filling in some gaps and answering unanswered questions regarding some past Pokemon theories. Like, I guess there's this whole shenanigans about a weapon that was fired off a while ago. Today, folks, I just thought we'd take a dive into what has been leaked thus far, but practically official news at this point, seeing as the game is coming out very shortly. There's a couple of things I want to make known to you friends before we dive into this video. Although the Pokemon scene will be filled with lots of, especially the streaming scene will be filled with lots of Legends ZA gameplay, unfortunately I do not possess a Nintendo Switch or a Switch 2, so there's no point in pre-ordering the game that I cannot play. But if I did, just know I would have done it for you friends. Played the entire game from start to finish. But that's not the main thing I wanted to say. The main thing is that as exciting as it is to craft theories and ideas about how grand these Pokemon shall be in the singles meta, and maybe the doubles in the future, but we just have to be extremely patient, as Legends ZA is just going to be a spin-off game of sorts, you know, kind of like Legends Arceus, where we had a game and we had new Pokemon that were revealed, the stats were leaked with no abilities, just as it is being done now. People had their own ideas and thoughts regarding the Hisuian Pokemon, but we had to wait a long time before those Pokemon became available to us. I believe we had to wait until Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had access to Pokemon Home, which is an app, I believe, which is an extension, I believe, that allows you to transfer Pokemon, but that's neither here nor there. So get excited and get hyped. Enjoy the new toys while you can if you are planning on playing Legends ZA, but as things are standing right now, it shall still be a while before we are able to have access to any of these fun megas in any serious competitive state. And everything that shall be said in this video, take it with a pinch of salt, although I think my opinion will be somewhat accurate. And I'm going to start us off by also encouraging you friends to let me know what mega you are most excited to see when they eventually become part of the competitive scene. But nonetheless, let's dive straight into it. What has been leaked is a lot of information regarding the megas' appearances, which I think everyone has seen by now, and basically their posed-based stats. These are more than likely going to remain the same, but some might be subject to change, as we shall see. But yeah, Clefable has been set to get a Mega, and Mega Clefable is suddenly flying through the sky, becoming a fairy flying type. I think it is great typing, to be honest with you. It does add a lot of obvious and common weaknesses to Clefable, but I think the trade-off with higher defenses on both sides of the spectrum, 93 and 110, will be quite a lot. I am, however, under the impression that if this Pokemon does not retain the Magic Guard ability, that Mega Clefable will actually end up being a lot worse than its regular counterpart, because of the following reason. If there is no Magic Guard to speak of, Mega Clefable will be weak to Stealth Rocks. Every special attacker and their mom are trying their best to slot on ice coverage if they can. So best beware that ice coverage is going to be stinging Clefable despite its raised defenses. And now suddenly being weak to Volt Switch, making it a bit more difficult to stomach such an attack, and make Clefable a victim of momentum, allowing the opponents to hit you hard with the Volt Switch and then threaten you again with a subsequent switch in if there is no Magic Guard. And then one more reason I think Mega Clefable might actually end up being worse than its regular counterpart, besides the typing adding a bit of weaknesses and Stealth Rock's weakness, is that no leftovers recovery. Even though Clefable has reliable healing in Soft Boiled and Wish, the reason why Clefable is so deceptively bulky is because it doesn't take any residual damage. So the calculations always are at 100%. There's no after Stealth Rock's damage you're going to want to KO the guy. And the added 6.25% from leftovers can be the make or break difference to take Clefable from being KO'd to barely surviving an attack on 1 HP, and then being allowed to spam a recovery move and eat some leftovers and get healthy enough to still remain outside of a KO range from certain attacks. But that all remains to be seen. Still a very nice design in my opinion. I think all the Mega Pokemon have very grand designs. They really did a solid job this time round. Victory Bell, it's going to be a disappointment to most people. With no chlorophyll, Victory Bell will not serve much of a defensive role. It's way weaker than Venusaur in terms of staying power. And being a mixed attacker, Grass Poison is not very good for mixed attacking ideas. The only purpose Victory Bell serves in any competitive environment is being a Sun Sweeper and spamming Weather Ball. That's what made it somewhat impactful in Generation 7 on some hyper niche Sun ideas. But without being able to, if it does not have access to chlorophyll, be ready to be disappointed. If it has chlorophyll, it can be a success in, I believe, tiers lower than overuse, because weather is still a gimmick, if we have to rely on the weather, and weather can be changed by a lot of different Pokemon. And the Sun Setters in tiers below Ubers are subpar, so it's a sacrifice you'll have to calculate for. But I still think Victory Bell is not OU material, despite its massive increase in attacking stats. Still too slow. Many choice Scarfers will outspeed, and Grass just has a lot of glaring weaknesses like flying and fire and ice. Easy attacks to slot onto most teams. Mega Storm is a very, very interesting one due to the fact that it received a boost much greater than 100, which is what Mega Pokemon tend to get. I believe the reason was explained to be that because there are no abilities in the game, certain Mega Pokemon like Mega Mawile and Mega Medicham also received a stat boost greater than 100 upon Mega Evolution. This alludes to the notion that Mega Starmie may end up having the huge power or pure power ability. It's a very funky looking Mega. I appreciate its design, to be honest. It looks quite cool in my opinion. And the lore that was said about it is also quite fascinating. If you want to have access to any of this information for yourselves, as I don't think this will be exposed in-game by any stretch of the imagination, at least the thoughts and ideas and stats themselves won't be a relevant fact in the game. You're just going to spam the attack button until you complete the story, basically. But if you want access to this information, I shall link it in the description of the video down below, so you can follow along and craft your own ideas regarding what is going on. And it also seems that this document gets updated as time goes on, so you could be sure to check out what is actually going on here. But yes, Mega Starmie is proposed to have only a base 100 attack stat once it receives its ability, or at least its boosting ability. And I think that is insane. If Mega Starmie ends up getting a physical move pool buff, base 100 huge power attacker is extremely high. It's the same attack stat as Mega Medicham. And the fact that this Pokemon has a serviceable base 130 special attack, and being the fastest huge or pure powered Pokemon, this will make Starmie a very grand Pokemon. Like I said, it depends on Starmie's physical move pool, as we can take a look real quick. Leaves much to be desired. Are you seriously expecting me to spam huge power rapid spins and have that be my gimmick, or huge power facade? No thank you. I don't think that's going to cut it. No stab moves that are adequate. Maybe Flip Turn can hit somewhat hard, even to some resists, but we've been resisting high powered water attacks, even +2, +3 water attacks here and there. So if this is all that it's working with currently, no ways will huge power make a difference into Starmie's playstyle. It has been noted that there are some move pool adjustments, and when the time comes that these Pokemon become available, new moves can be added to old Pokemon and new moves can be added to new Pokemon. So maybe Starmie can end up learning a lot more usable physical attacks to make use of its new abilities. I believe it is proposed to receive Bulk Up in Legend ZA and Liquidation, which is slightly better water stab, but come on man, we've been resisting Feraligators, +2 sheer force boosted Liquidations, and we've made means and methods to even resist Draco Vicious Ren, so there's no way Starmie's huge power is going to be a huge factor to deal with. But still a cool design. Low HP stat means that the bulk is not that broken. Mega Dragonite, one of the first that was ever teased. Now we know what you are packing. Back when I was a child, I used to run my Dragonairs with mostly special attacks because they learn like Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, all the TMs you could purchase from the department store. And Mega Dragonite has received a good jolt in its speed, rising up to base 100, and a very big boost with special attack. Mega Dragonite's special coverage is very, very good. Even without multi-scale, I think this Pokemon will still remain an overused staple. One thing is worth noting that with base 100 speed, even though the attack stat has been slightly lowered, you can afford to suddenly run an Adamant Nature more often than not, and still be frisky with it and Dragon Dance. An Adamant Nature with a lower attack stat of base 124 is still higher than a Jolly Nature base 134 at max speed because of the boost in speed. And more often than not, you'd find that your Dragonite needed 2 Dragon Dances to outclass certain Choice Scarfers and certain booster energy Pokemon that are available in Generation 9. But no longer. Maybe one can be enough to sweep through and through. And the fact that your special attack has been raised means that mixed Dragonite sets to just get rid of that one annoying counter. Skarmory is getting in your way, will Fire Blast that guy in the next dimension. If it's Great Tusk, a Hurricane will deal with it in one attack, and there'll be no question about it. Even if something like Zapdos, the biggest bulk of all, comes in, Ice Beam time, 2-hit KO. Clear overused, a grand winner of the stat distribution. Very well done, and the bulk even got better. So if it has multi-scale intact, oh, this is going to be a menace to deal with. Especially since it can even play the role of a support Pokemon a lot better with these stats. That base HP is high enough to make it shrug off a lot of attacks and get the ball rolling, whichever role it desires to play. We're going to rush through a few of them, but Meganium finally received some sort of love. But I do not believe it is love that is going to make it become everybody's favorite starter Pokemon ever. Mega Meganium is now a fairy type as well, but it has been pointed out that Meganium does not learn Moonblast, the best and only fairy stab you should actually be using ever. Look at a Pokemon like Togekiss, for example. It does not learn Moonblast. It's not going to bother clicking Dazzling Gleam to take on a Dragon type. It'll rather just Thunder Wave the thing and Air Slash it to the ground. Dazzling Gleam is the only fairy stab it appears that Mega Meganium is receiving. Maybe in the future this can change, and with Mega Meganium's massive base 143 special attack, higher than a lot of powerful attackers in current generation, underused and overused as well, it will make Mega Meganium hit quite hard. But again, this Pokemon is going to be ability dependent. Meganium has no useful abilities that we can compare or assume it might retain. The bulk has been boosted slightly, but the speed is still slow and 4 times weak to poison, which is not a common attacking type that is thrown off. And just giving it the fairy type making it weak to Sizzle and fairy typing making it weak to Steals is not something to love, but it's a noteworthy sacrifice. I still think this will be a Pokemon for the lower tiers, as I can think of a number of weak Pokemon that can defeat this guy after a single setup move being clicked. Ice types will still be the bane of his existence, and every tier possesses an adequate flying type. What role would you want your Meganium to do? The only setup move it does possess is Swords Dance at the moment, and are you seriously expecting me to put in work to make the commitment to Mega Evolve Meganium of all things just to make a base 92 physical attack work for me? I doubt that very much. So it will still remain a pathetic Pokemon, but Mega Alligator, a Pokemon that has added the Dragon typing. It actually loses to Mega Meganium 1v1, all things considered. But obviously that's not going to be the case because we're just going to retain our Dragon Dance, get faster, kill him with Ice Punch, 1-hit KO. This is a Pokemon I'll actually speculate that it will be granted the Strong Jaw ability. There's no ways they can give this guy such a huge jaw and brag about in the Pokédex entries how powerful its bite has become since Mega Evolving. With Strong Jaw, I think that is enough to compensate for the Life Orb Sheer Force combination. Not a one-to-one equivalent exchange of power, but I think the Strong Jaw will be a bit weaker, but the base attack has been shot up to 160, which is insane for Pokemon that was always, well, 2 Dragon Dances. This water type loves to use to beat down Pokemon like Slowking. On a side note, the people are complaining about its design. You know, it looks like it has a Totodile head with a Feraligatr body, and it looks kind of derpy and strange, but I think it's cool. You know, it's weird and I like what I see. The dragon typing, I think, is one of the biggest boons that it has received. The extra defenses are nice to have. Speed remains the same, so you'll need to acquire the same amount of Dragon Dance if you want to guarantee your sweep versus faster paced teams. But it will be a lot easier because of the added resistances because of your dragon typing and the increased bulk. So you can sometimes live a hit that regular Feraligatr would have died to, like Thunderous's Thunderbolt, for example. You could live it and just revenge them, or just kill them straight out and sweep the rest of the team. I don't think it will be an overused attacker, because the thing about attacking Pokemon is that they are fighting for space. It's all-out warfare for a slot in the team. Everybody and their mom is doing high-powered attacks in one way or another. What will separate Feraligatr from other water-style attackers? It remains to be seen, but maybe those Strong Jaw attacks from a base 160 will be enough to make it worth something. We've already seen how strong Sharpedo's Strong Jaw attacks are, and Mega Feraligatr possesses a stronger attack stat. The only difference is that Sharpedo actually had Stab on its crunch. That's the reason it felt stronger than it actually is. One of the most interesting changes to all the Megas, or at least stat changes, is to Mega Skarmory, sacrificing some of their defenses, gaining 30 special defense, but getting a huge boost to its attack and to its speed. Let me give you guys a theory of sorts. Mega Skarmory is receiving the Mega Metagross treatment. This is the return Skarmory needs to go back into overuse. Over the years, Skarmory has become a little more passive in its play, especially with the removal of Toxic from its move pool. Skarmory is already a Pokemon that possesses Sword Stance, unlike Mega Metagross. So I don't even think it needs a offense boosting ability. Even if it just maintained its sturdy, it's more than enough. It has reliable recovery, arguably better typing than Mega Metagross, and those stats are just incredible. This change is going to shoot Skarmory up to the moon. Skarmory does possess even Drill Run, so if Magnezone was looking to answer it, you best be careful in trying to trap this Pokemon, as you may end up having your Magnezone be trapped in turn. It's a lucky thing that Choice Scarf Magnezone is faster than Skarmory, otherwise Magnezone would absolutely be a useless idea to answer it. But yes, I do think Skarmory is going to come back with a vengeance. It's going to be dropping its spiking antics. There will still be place for spikes and whatnot here and there, but why should I spike when I can just start attacking with high-powered Brave Birds that can roost off the damage? I can potentially Sword Stance and win the game with Skarmory. And Skarmory, even in its base form, possesses weak armor as its ability. So if I'm anticipating some random weak U-turn or some random weak Rapid Spin to be fired off, and I get the weak armor boost, and then I Mega Evolve, and then I acquire another Sword Stance, oh my goodness, game over. Nobody's outspeeding me. Nobody is going to survive my attacks. Frostlass, very, very cool looking Pokemon with this Mega form. I think Frostlass is completely outclassing Mega Glalie, which is one of the worst Megas they created in the competitive scene, at least. Again, it's a Pokemon that will depends on the ability, but as it stands, just by looking at the stats and what Frostlass currently possesses, like Cursed Body for example, Ice Stab is extremely difficult to switch into, as it is well known, and Ice Ghost is a very grand offensive typing. Mega Frostlass being so quick and having a great special attacking stat might make Frostlass something worth using in the overused tier, if Terrasilize is not a factor as well. Frostlass has Has good special attacking moves like Shadow Ball and Ice Beam to spam as stabs. And if we look at the overused tier as it currently stands, or even at the national dex tier, if all things were considered, Frostlass is fast. Charizard threatens with Shadow Balls, even though Charizard won't die. Threatens Alomomola with Shadow Balls, and there's a Assault Vest. Ice Beam for Claude. Corviknight could probably take it on with its specially defensive. No, upon looking at it further, I don't think it's going to be all that special because you have to give up a Mega slot for it. And there are a lot of other Mega Pokemon that can do special attacking in some fashion, but I think it will have its use cases in the overused tier. It's stronger and quicker than Kyurem, and Kyurem's Ice Beams are quite difficult to switch into, but it's usually only if it's a Specs Kyurem. And the other thing about Kyurem is that it possesses the Ice Stab in Freeze Dry. Kyurem also can rock Leftovers Recovery, so I think we are going to be okay regarding Frostlass. It'll be good, it'll have its place in overuse, you know, not just some niche spiker and some suicide lead style Pokemon that's taunting everybody quickly so they can get no hazards and you can get up 2 spikes or 3 spikes or drag the opponent down with you with the Destiny Bond. Frostlass actually can be a serious attacker. In the lower tiers, in my opinion, I mean, there's just so much competition. Mega Charizard, why? For starters, there's a lot of Scizor, Mega Scizor. Who's going to give up Mega Scizor so I can use Mega Frostlass? Nobody really. I mean, Melmetal, I can see Assault-Vest Melmetal bashing this thing's head in. Weak to Stealth Rocks and weak to Hazards, no boots. Yeah, it's not looking... Oxapeck is gonna crush you. Yeah, man. Choice Scarfers are quicker than you, and let's see what the defenses were on Frostlass. Oh gosh. Scarf Shifu, for example. Where Shifu was in some game. Volcarona after Quiver Dance. Oh no. Yeah, in fact, Volcarona is going to Quiver Dance in front of you 1v1. And then you're slower. Yeah, I don't think... It might look like great stats, you know, for a lot of previous generations, but no, it's not going to cut it in overuse. Overuse metagame is very, very unforgiving. You need to perform a specific role or be an attacker that is absolutely consistent above and beyond. And high special attack, high special defense, and high speed, it's synonymous with a lot of Pokemon. Like the aforementioned Kyurem. High stats in all 3 of those, even though it's not so high. But high stats other places, but yeah. Those 3 things have been done by many Pokemon, and some of them are way below underused, way below overused to begin with. So Frostlass, we'll see you in the lower tiers. Maybe underused will have a home for you. Emboar, 3rd firefighting starter that we received in a row. Finally receiving some love. Shocked to see the defenses didn't get such a big... The physical defense didn't get such a big jump. I think Emboar is going to depend mainly on its ability. And I think its ability will be something unique. I can't see it being reckless. Rocking a staff and some traditional looking gear. Still retains its firefighting typing. Slightly quicker so you can max out the HP and outspeed some other bulky walls or other bulky attackers that are looking to do heavy damage but not take heavy damage in return. And the attacking stat and typing is very good, as we've seen Blaziken doing monstrous work, Infernape dominating tiers, even though not forever, but yeah. Serviceable special attack too, so don't forget Emboar possesses moves like Scald, shockingly. So if you want to ever catch your opponents on a mid-ground, and you could throw off Scald and burn them with the attack stat that is not too bad. If some unaware physical wall wants to resist your stabs, like Skeledirge for example, Scald that thing from the next dimension. It will do some type of damage. I'm gonna love him. I'm gonna love seeing Emboar in the lower tiers as well. That's not overused material, friends. Do not let these attacking stats fool you. At the end of the day, you can't be doing everything at once. You can't be all out attacking and killing everything in 2 hits or 1 hit, which 2 hit KO is the benchmark. If you're not 2 hit KOing, you are not worthy. So you can't be 2 hit KOing everybody and living every attack with that kind of speed. Or you can't be living everybody and then doing massive damage. Some Pokemon find the means to do both, but with no reliable recovery, I don't think Emboar has that capacity. The Pokemon that tend to stick around for longer can afford to, you know, not do the most damage, not tank the most. It's just the fact that they can recover the damage off that makes a difference. Underuse, new favorite Pokemon, the Landorus of Underuse, Excadrill, was blessed to have a Mega, and wow, does it look very, very cool. People have been wailing on the fact that Excadrill's special defense remain the same, but I don't think that's a particular problem. What I think it's going to still be a very good Pokemon that you can rock with maximum special defense if you want to do. And now the fact that Excadrill has a higher than average, even though not the best, it has a base 103 speed now, this makes special defense of Excadrill a much easier Pokemon to use. No leftovers will suck, yes, but I think the stat changes are enough to compensate for that fact. The defense boost is nice, but Excadrill was never using its defensive stat in any capacity, so I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. You see, that's the thing with these megas. People need to think of what difference will the stats make. The special attack obviously is null and void. Nobody's throwing off steel beams in the hope of KOing the opponent. It might happen from time to time, but that's not what you're using it for. If it has Sand Rush as its ability or Mold Breaker as its ability, I think Excadrill will be an excellent Pokemon in the overused tier. Really and true, this is a making for Excadrill's return to overuse. It possesses both Swords Dance and Rapid Spin with that steel typing, and Stab Earthquake is something that you'll never be tired of seeing or complain about having on your Pokemon. I think this is a great design and a great idea for the way they want to portray Excadrill Mega in the competitive scene. Looking forward to seeing that Pokemon in action, as Excadrill is one of the best Pokemon ever to embrace underuse. One of the biggest changes ever is Scolipede. Whirlipede has donned the armor from Whirlipede and slowed itself down tremendously, but the defenses have jolted up the stratosphere. Apparently Scolipede now receives Gunk Shot, and the fact that it does possess most of the hazards like Spikes and Toxic Spikes, this Pokemon could become a somewhat reliable spiker. It reminds me a little bit about Buzzwole, who had great defenses and great physical attack, but mediocre speed. If Scolipede does not possess Speed Boost as its ability, and it possesses something else, I think we might be in for a problem, as I don't think it will be used in overused here. As discussed, we've seen Buzzwole in action. Buzzwole was only a success because of its access to Roost. What healing is Scolipede going to be doing? I don't believe it has access to Horn Leech or Leech Life. But if it decides to slow itself down and become some speed booster, kind of looks like some horse that you'd use to charge into battle, you know, with a lance, where it's towering up like that with those horns. If it still retains speed boost, there may be a use case for it, but the stab combination is not that great. There are a lot of Pokemon that can take on the combination of Bug and Poison, and weak to Stealth Rocks is something that not really a recipe for success if you want to be successful in the overused tier. Let's actually take a look at Scolipede right now. What moves does it possess? If it has Poison Point, we could see some use cases for that. Poison Point, with all my defenses, you can U-turn on me all day, every day. I'll poison you one of these days, but people can play around poison status, so it's not that important, even though the attack stat jumped up a lot. Mega Horn and Jab are currently what it has. Gunk Shot would be workable, but those moves miss, so that's inconsistent. Earthquake is nice to have. I believe it does learn Earthquake. This non-stab Earthquake. What's going to be my means to hit, like Corviknight or those flying types? Well, if it's not Flying Steel, I guess with that higher attack after Swords Dance, we can hit them with Rock Slide, but that will be 4 move slot syndrome. I mean, you can't fit all Swords Dance and your stabs and a coverage move to hit to hit Steel Flyings. That's not possible. Rock Slide is still a very weak attack, even if it's non-stab, so yeah, I think it's gonna have its stop gaps, really and truly. And the fact that it's slower and has no reliable recovery besides rest, I guess. I might be pessimistic regarding most of these megas, but I'm just thinking about it clearly with a clear mind. No, I don't think Scolipede's going to be breathing OU life into it. It will be ability dependent, and I don't think Speed Boost will be what it needs. I think maybe if it does have Speed Boost, I've been saying that a lot, but on hyper offense teams we could see it, and you'd have to hope to not get unlucky and miss your Mega Horn and Gunk Shot, and hope that they don't have Skarmory or Scarf Tapu Lele or something along those lines, you know. It's a lot to ask for to have this thing be a success, but anything can work, you know. If you describe it like that, oh, we're gonna put you behind screens and you're gonna Swords Dance for free, anything can be made powerful in that setting, that perfect ideal setting, which is not always the case for Pokemon. Scrafty now rocking a white hood. He put on some white sweatpants this time around. Looks like an angsty teen of sorts, you know, with the hair covering the eyes and all that. The defenses went up slightly. Speed also went up slightly, but the attacking stat went up to a very serviceable attacking stat. Scrafty is one of those Pokemon that can be very annoying because it depends on the ability and it depends on the set. Sometimes Scrafty is Dragon Dance with Moxie, sometimes it's Bulk Up with Moxie or Shed Skin and Rest and whatnot. Sometimes it has Drain Punch, sometimes it's Close Combat. Scrafty is going to depend on the ability, as Omega can't slot 3 different abilities, can only choose one. So it will depend on the ability. But being the hoodlum that it is, I would maintain Moxie if it was up to me. I think that will make the Dragon Dance sets pop off a little bit in the lower tiers, and I mean it, the lower tiers, probably banned from some lower tier. Because base 68 is not something noteworthy in higher tiers. Again, behind screens, you can maybe find some use case. And Scrafty has good attacking typing, has 2 good attacking stab types, has 2 good attacking stabs in Knockoff and Close Combat and Drain Punch too. Jab for the fairies if you really want to, and those jabs are going to start to hurt from this much higher physical attack. Those defensive fairies like Clefable, for example, 2 Dragon Dances, you're done. Who's going to allow you to get those boosts accruing? Nobody really. Lower tier Pokemon all the way through and through. None of these guys are, man, it just goes to show you that overused Pokemon, at least overused staples, are designed quite uniquely. It's not every insanely powerful attacker is now overused. Look at Latios, for example. Just a generic special attacker. Drop it to underused. Fair is fair. Cinderace, for example. Fast Will-O-Wisp. Court Change. No hazard's gonna mean anything. U-turn for pivoting. Not the highest attack, not the highest speed, but those unique traits make it overused. What does Scrafty have to offer besides generic Dragon Dancing? And slow generic Dragon Dancing for that matter. Tyranitar, Mega and Regular can do the same style of Dragon Dancing that Scrafty can, and they are not always famed for their Dragon Dancing ideas. So there's that piece of news for Scrafty. Electros with its massive coverage. Electros is now faster. I wonder if Electros is torn. Electros possesses every move under the sun. In fact, they amped up its damage on both sides of the spectrum. Means that Electros, especially for the lower tiers, is going to be a very difficult Pokemon to answer. Yeah, just look at that. So much coverage on both sides of the spectrum. No reliable recovery will hurt, but Giga Drain is there if you really need to use it. The special defense went up slightly, but there's the fact that physical attack and special attack are high. I'm thinking of things like Mixed Infernape that used to destroy Stall and other bulky playstyles alike back in the day. This is definitely going to be a very fun Pokemon to be using when it eventually comes to fruition. Mega Chandelure, people are saying is a very huge disappointment. You know, if Mega Heracross with an even higher physical attack stat than Chandelure's massive special, if Mega Heracross cannot service in overused on a regular basis, and Mega Alakazam, when it was legal before Nasty Plot became a thing, was legal in overuse of Generation 7 with the same special attack and with sky high speed and a much better special defense, Chandelure in its slowness and low HP is not going to cut it. Base 145 is a reasonably high attack stat, but what lets Chandelure fail, even in the lower tiers, is that it is so slow. The speed boost is not enough to compensate for the increased power level, but no heavy duty boots, no Choice Scarf, no ability to disrupt the opponents with Trick. Trick Room becomes a lot less useful with Chandelure, and the physical attack boost is obviously not something noteworthy. The defenses, most knockoffs are still gonna sting regardless. Although, I mean, knockoff is a bit weak, and so maybe you can eat that attack here and there, but I still wouldn't be comfortable switching my Chandelure in on a knockoff with no reliable recovery and weak to stealth rocks and all types of hazards. I truly am in the camp that Mega Chandelure, although its design is very grand, and so is the design of Electros, I forgot to mention. It's got those ghostly eels beside it. It looks like electrics beside it, those ghostly electrics, you know. One for the physical attack, one for the special. Yeah, I don't think the design matters. What matters is results. The results are not looking too grand for Chandelure. Chestnut, I think, is going to be a promising Mega. Grass fighting is good defensive typings if flying types and heavy special attackers are put away. If it retains bulletproof, then oh my goodness, Chestnut's special defense went up to a level that is workable. We've seen Mega Scizor run special defense to use its ability to set up sword stances and whatnot. Chestnut could set up iron defenses with that insane defensive stat. And the set that people are using nowadays in Gen 9, RU, and sometimes in the underused tier, the attacking moves they're using is knockoff and body press, because Chestnut was gifted these attacks in this generation. The way you usually defeat Chestnut is hitting it on the special defensive side. Even if it's not a super effective attack, if it's a normal attack, it tends to 2-hit KO. But with the massive increase in that special defense, this is going to be a good thing. The speed being sacrificed is all okay with me. And Chestnut also possesses reliable recovery and spikes if you really needed to throw those down. You could even drop iron defense if you really had to put spikes on the opponent's side. The only reason iron defense is a thing is because you might need to set up alongside somebody else, but now that your defense is so sky high and you can attack them with your serviceable physical attack, means that you won't always need to be boosting your defenses with iron defense in an emergency state where you want to counter a sword stancer. The next Pokemon is finally somebody that I think will be clear as daylight overused, but also again it depends on the ability. If it has a functional ability like Blaze, for example, or Magic Guard, as some people are speculating, I don't think that will be the case. I'm not here to tease you with ideas that may or may not exist in the future. But Delphox, it has been given Charizard wise special attacks, and we've all seen how strong Charizard wise, and Delphox is not 4 times weak to rocks, it's 2 times weak to rocks. No reliable recovery, will suck a little bit, but rocks are not that difficult to get off the field with Defog being omnipresent, at least in the National Dex format. The difference between Delphox and Charizard is that Delphox is super fast. Base 134 is extremely quick. You're going to need to be choice scarfed, and if you are choice scarfed, we will find out what you are being choice scarfed, and we will answer you with the resist. And when you have to swap it out, we'll put this quick Delphox back onto the field and blast you with some insane fire attacks. Delphox has grand coverage, it has grass coverage in Grass Knot, and it has fairy coverage in Dazzling Gleam as well. Even though it's not something you always want to be touching, it still has it. It has set up potential with Nasty Plot, something that Charizard does not possess. And if I do recall, it does possess Scorching Sands. So Heatran, thinking it's going to come in on a Nasty Plot Delphox, be careful Heatran. Scorching Sands is there, and even if Heatran is not your answer, 30% chance to burn. It's going to be a monster. There's no stopping it. It's got the coverage, it's got the speed, and it's got the power. Triple threat. Through and through. Mega Greninja. This is not Ash Greninja by any stretch of the imagination. It's quicker. Luckily, same speed stat as Dragapult, and you all know how great Dragapult has been with its insane speed stat. And Dragapult is not a Specs attacker anymore, and is using base 100 special attack to fire off powerful Draco Meteors and powerful stab hexes on status Pokemon. Greninja is the same speed stat but with a much higher special attack. Greninja possesses Sword Stance, so now the physical attack is serviceable as well. Sword Stance, Knock Off, Liquidation, Ice Punch, U-Turn, those are all moves that can work. It's also going to be ability dependent. I do not see Greninja maintaining Protean, especially as it's leaned more into its ninja designs, more its ninja powers more so than its frog-like amphibious powers to be ever changing. But we'll have to wait and see. I do believe that this is going to shoot Greninja back into overuse. You know, speed is king when it comes to overused, and Greninja definitely packs it. High speed with high attacking stat and very good coverage attacks. Again, a triple threat that is going to do wonders for overused. Guaranteed almost. Pyro, what a joke. Joke of a design, joke of stats. Base 607, but it does average special attack, no physical attack to speak of, average defenses, and very good speed. That's about it. A fire type with very good speed. Pyro does not have good coverage, if I'm being honest with you, friends. Let's have a look at Pyro. I think if it doesn't have Solar Beam, I'm going to skip this thing. Also going to be ability dependent, and I wouldn't be shocked if they still maintain Pyro with the Moxie ability. Nobody's using Pyro with Moxie. Mega Pyro with Moxie. Sacrificing a Mega Slot for that. Let's see if Solar Beam is in the arsenal. It is in the arsenal. So, must I now really run a Sun team for this thing? The Scorching Sands in the arsenal. No Scorching Sands, give up. Pyro is the worst Mega I've seen on this list. I believe it is the worst Mega that they've designed for this generation. Nice shout out to the villain of Gen 6. You know, he had Pyro as one of his main Pokemon. At least the villain, the evil team of Generation 6. But come on, guys, you could have done a lot better than this, man. Pyro's a confused mess, and it remains one. Now you just want me to use a special attacker with a special attack we've seen before, and a speed stat that we haven't really seen before, but we can work around with Choice Scarfers. A typing that is going to be weak to rocks, from the word go, weak to webs as well. And that's just the death sentence. Weak to the hazards, poor coverage, poor stab combination. The normal stab in the special attacker, it's not it, man. This hyper voice is like your best stab. Nobody's rocking hyper beam. No ways. So skip this nonsense. Don't get excited for Pyro. Scrap it if you have to. Now, a new Pokemon. One that has existed in the files for a long time, but Eternal Floette and Mega Eternal Floette. This is a great design and a great idea that Game Freak has done. Everybody's already crafted their ideas regarding how good Floette will be, but if it does have Moonblast, which if Floor just has Moonblast, then I would assume that this thing will also have Moonblast. But Floette is again a Pokemon with the last 3 special stats and speed being not too bad, so we have a lot of those Pokemon. Even Meloetta's last 3 is not too bad, and Meloetta sucks. But Floette has good typing in Mono Fairy, but it doesn't have the greatest coverage. The Mega Eternal Flower has a very highest special attack and special defense stat, speed rivaling that of Garchomp. Yeah, this is one of, I think this, if we had to come to competitive play, this would be one of underused best Megas in the tier. We already know that Floette's ability is Flower Veil, and that's the only ability possessed. It may change in the future, but if that's going to be the case, it's going to be a very difficult Pokemon to make work in the lower tiers. It's basically rocking no ability. That's what holds Florges back so tremendously. It has the Wish combination for recovery, but no, defenses are too low and the HP is a bit too low. However, if I must use that as my recovery options while I start Calm Minding up to an eternity, then so be it. Let's actually confirm if it has Moonblast. It does possess Moonblast, so I think that's all you need. Calm Mind, Moonblast, Wish Protect, good to go. And the Mega one could do the same antics if it had to. But I think it will have an ability that will make it a unique Pokemon in the up and coming years. Before we head over to Mega Malamar, a Pokemon that was also advertised relatively early and received a lot of hype on Pokemon Showdown and in the Pokemon community in general. You know, Pokemon Showdown for a few months was overtaken by Malamar's, advertising itself to be Malamar Showdown for a time. If you have been enjoying the theory crafting that we've been doing so far and enjoyed seeing my opinion on the different Pokemon that are currently going to be released, let me know in the comments down below, and leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as we shall be doing a lot more competitive Pokemon videos as the years go on. But Mega Malamar, for all the hype it received, Mega Malamar only got 10 points in attack. The special defense is what shot up tremendously, and base 88 speed tying Excadrill, for example, it's okay. I do not see the vision. I would assume that Mega Malamar is going to retain the contrary ability. The only idea I've seen and heard of is that you can now spam close combat and get contrary close combats, but why would I want to boost my defenses and superpower boost my defense and my attack at the same time? What purpose do I need to now jolt up my special defense as well? Nothing really seems to have changed for Mega Malamar. It's a waste of a Mega Slot, almost as bad as Pyro. Luckily it's got a nice design, but that's about it, man. That separates it from being a failure as Pyro. Let's move on to the next guy. But the next guy is one we can get excited for. A lot of changes have happened to the man of many hands, Barbaracle, Mega Barbaracle, the Hecatoncheires. Wow, attack stat is sky high, higher than Garchomp, higher than any pseudo legendary dragon except Excalibur. But yeah, defenses are great. HP is not as good, but it's good enough. Behind screens, those defenses will count. The extra defense will count. The fact that Barbaracle can type change water and Mega Evolve into a rock type, flipping the weaknesses that you may want to throw at it. It won't be weak to electric any longer. And the speed boost is also grand. I think this is the quickest Shell Smash Pokemon we have. I think this is the Shell Smash Pokemon with the highest attacking stat. Barbaracle received close combat in this generation, and if it retains the Tough Claws, that attacking stat will be translated into an even stronger weapon to face off against. The reason why, even though other Pokemon on this list are have received buffs to their attacking stats and have set up potential. If Barbarical Mega retains the Shell Smash, apparently it doesn't have Shell Smash in this game, but I'm sure it will not lose that move forever if it retains Shell Smash. It's a style of sweeper that is game ending. Once I get the sweep off, I'm either going to win this game on the spot, or we'll play on a little bit and see what happens. Not necessarily I'll lose on the spot, but that's the style of sweeper Barbarical is, and now you've made it even more insane with potentially more reliable coverage in fighting and close combat. The attack stat being so high, gonna rip through entire teams. It's quicker than most choice scarfers after a boost. It's quicker than most unburdens after a boost, and the unburdens are not always that reliable as reliable as clicking Shell Smash. With a Pokemon that has a good physical attack stat, it doesn't need to be Shell Smashing to be a threat. You can just threaten some flying Zapdos with Stone Edge. Killed. One KO. Mega Barbarical is going to be one of the best attackers the overused tier has ever seen. Mega Dragalge, it needs the adaptability. I think it's more of the same. The special defense is nice to have, but we've been dealing with special sponges for a long time. We know how to deal with Blissey, we know how to deal with Mega Dragalge, and it's still so slow. With no adaptability, we can resist those special attacks with steel types very easily. It possesses no fire type coverage, so steel types will be an adequate answer. Also, no reliable recovery means that whatever chip we fling onto it will stick. Yeah, I'm not so excited for Mega Dragalge, but it's nice to have, you know. Dragalge is one of my favorite dragon types of Generation 6. I was always fascinated by the fact that it turns into a dragon. I love Pokemon like that, like Kingdra and Dragalge. I love Pokemon like that. To gain the dragon typing. Mega Lucha was advertised also very early, and people loved the design. We were assuming it was going to become slow, but no. Mega Holucha retains its quick speed, very very quick, quicker than Cinderace, I believe. The attack stat is now finally something not meme worthy, higher than I think some not fully evolved Pokemon this time, because I believe Holucha's physical attack is lower than some not fully evolved physical Pokemon, and the only reason you get away with it is because of Unburden and the ability to run Adamant Nature with a powerful Sword Stance and high powered stab attacks. No Unburden for this Pokemon, sadly, but Roost, Taunt, Encore, Defog, Strong Stabs. What's not to love? It's got higher defense, so it can play the support role that in the early days of this generation Holucha was actually doing, as it was one of the few things that people were going out of their way to use to just simply get Defog off versus Golden Go, as the Mold Breaker would ignore good as gold. So I do not think this is going to push Holucha into the overused stratosphere. But as we have had pseudo legendaries with stats much better distributed than Mega Holuchas are proposed to be, but those same Pokemon are not finding success in underused. So I don't think Holucha is going to be some overused mad attacker. It depends on the ability, of course, once again. If it had Intimidate, for example, oh my goodness, this would be the new Landorus Therian, I can promise you that much. Alas, not so. Mega Zygarde Complete. Apparently they decided to flip the script. Drop the attack and slightly drop the defenses, but increase the speed to something serviceable, but still. The special attack is insane. That's the highest special attack ever conceived of in the game. We've had to deal with pretty powerful special attackers like Mega Mewtwo Y, but that pales in comparison. It's over 550, if I remember correctly. We can finally use Zygarde Complete's signature move, Core Enforcer, but I believe that Core Enforcer gets an upgrade once you Mega Evolve, because the core has been enforced and completed. Definitely an Uber. If Zygarde Complete is Uber, Zygarde Complete Mega is definitely going to be Uber by technicality at the worst. Right, it's getting quite late, so we're going to have to wrap this up real quick. Drampa is one of the coolest looking Megas on this list, in my opinion. It looks like a Storm Dragon. Sadly retains a normal Dragon typing, but high special attack, sky high special attack. One of the greatest Trick Room attackers. The VGC players are going to be blessed trying to use this thing. Decent defense as well in Dragon typing is always something noteworthy. It's theory to have a unique ability due to its design, but not accepting the fact that it looks so cool but it's still a normal type, no thank you. But we'll wait and see when the time is right. And Phalanx taking on, instead of being soldiers in a formation, they've decided to body up and become one unique soldier. High physical attack stat, workable physical attack stat, workable speed, making no retreat a move that it still maintains. Something worth considering in higher level play. And don't forget, I think you can click no retreat more than once. Let's actually find out. Okay, and I've confirmed no retreat is a move that you can only use once, and then you are trapped in battle, so it's all or nothing. You're going nowhere, you're doing nothing else. No retreat. But the stat increases it's something worth using. At the end of the day, an Omni Boost is an Omni Boost, and look how powerful Komodo was with an Omni Boost. It took a while for us to get used to Komodo and to learn how great it was, but I think Phalanx will be still a lot worse than Komodo. Worse defensive typing, worse move pool, worse coverage. Yeah, it takes up a mega slot, so yeah. Nice try, but not today. Phalanx is not going to be the grandest of all. Definitely a lower tier legend for us to play with, but it's good. It's good that they design megas to not all be uber powerful and so insane that nothing can switch in. I don't mind that they boost Pokemon's attacks, even though the attack stat is never going to be touched, or they drop the speeds or change the Pokemon design here and there. I don't mind that at all. I think it's a very welcome addition. Every tier needs its love. Not every Pokemon needs its design equal, but every Pokemon is designed equally powerful as well. So I think they did a great job with the stats, the way they propose them to be done, except for Pyro and Malamar. That's just mind-boggling, to be honest with you. Folks, we're going to call it a day. There's a lot more we can discuss regarding the matter, but enjoy Legends Arceus content, as it will be available unto you by the time this video goes up. And again, if you did enjoy this video, I encourage you once more to leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so already. And let me know in the comments which mega are you most excited for seeing in the future. The part I'm most excited for is just to see what the abilities will eventually become, as that is what's going to make or break these Pokemon. But in the future, I know everything will shift to the correct tier that it belongs in and be in the correct state that it needs to be in. Definitely something to look forward to in the far future. But for now, folks, we shall be U-turning out. Thank you for watching.